Okay, so let's talk about how this program works. We are not just training these kids how to move their eyes quickly on a page. We're actually having to train the eyes and the brain to process faster. And that's why it does take a lot of repetition. So no, they can't go through all of 100 pages in a week and you see the 2 or 3 years reading progress. They actually have to have the time to repeat exercises in order to see the changes in the processing, because that's what we're doing. We're actually working with the brain and the eyes as well as the children's ability, okay? So there's 10 lessons, and each lesson has approximately 10 pages. Lesson 1 is the easiest lesson. Lesson 10 is the most difficult, and they kind of build as you go through learning each new skill. So you have to start at the beginning at lesson 1, which is just scanning. So you start at lesson 1, scanning, and the first page is the easiest page. Second page is a little more difficult, third a little more difficult, till you get to page 10, which is the most difficult. And so the rule of thumb is here that you would work on a couple pages. Let's say that you do the first 2 or 3 pages and the kids are quick, they're easy, they don't make any mistakes. Okay, then you go to page 4 or page 5, you work your way down and you get to a page where they're starting to have problems. They're starting to get frustrated. They're starting to go slow. They're starting to miss their place. They're starting to backtrack. They're not following the directions. Then you go back to an easier level. That's when you go back. You go back to an easier level where there's success. And you do that a couple more times. And the next day you reintroduce the one they're having trouble with, but you only do like the first line or do this 2 lines together or something like that. But you go slow enough that they are constantly building success. You do not want them building bad habits. That's not what we want. We want them building good habits. So you keep them in that routine of not backtracking, not skipping. When they start at the left end of the page and they scan all the way right and mark all of the things, then they drop to the next line and they start at the left and go over to the right and all the way. And if they skip one, they skip it. They don't go back and backtrack and mark it. That's against the rules. You just skip it and keep going. We're going to erase the page afterwards and we're going to do it again anyway. So it's okay. We're going to keep doing that. And yes, their brain is going to remember the placement of some of these things. That's okay. That's all right. Remember, we're training the brain too. We're training automaticity. And when this comes into play with letters, words, vowels, you want that automaticity anyway, because that's what we're training. We're training the brain to pick up if a little thing sweeps to the left or a little thing sweeps to the right. If a little thing sticks up higher than another one, like an H as opposed to an N, we're training the brain to look for those little details. So we want automaticity. We want to do things over and over and over again until they come easily and automatic. And of course, that's going to boost your students' self-esteem as well, because they are coming easier and they are more automatic. So start in lesson 1, go through the 10 pages, then go into lesson 2, do the workbook pages, then go into lesson 3. Don't skip and jump around unless you've already been doing visual processing things and you know right where you're at. If you see trouble, if you see problems, remember, scoot back. Go back to where there's success. We do not want to train in bad habits, right?